Hey up guys! So today on the channel I finally get to give you my thoughts on what was probably my most anticipated film of 2022. It's Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is written and directed by Kwan and Scheinert, or the Daniels if you will. A lot of hype for this film. First of all, it's an A24 film, which gets people very excited, but also the word of mouth for this film has been insane on film Twitter. I'm talking deafening. People will not shut up about this film, and frustratingly, the UK was like the last place on earth to get distribution for this film, so we were hungry to see what all the fuss was about. So I actually took time out of my holiday to New York City just so I could go watch this film and find out what all the hubbub was about. This is how badly I was dying to see this film. The question is though, did it live up to the ridiculous levels of hype? You bet your googly eyes it did. I'm still the last YouTuber on the planet to have seen this film, and a lot has already been said about this film. I don't know if what I'm gonna say is gonna be anything particularly new, but these are my thoughts on Everything Everywhere All at Once. The film, and essentially the universe, is centered around the character of Evelyn Wang, who's played by Michelle Yeoh, who is an aging Chinese immigrant living in America, and she's trying to keep herself, her family, and her business afloat. Her laundromat business is being audited. Her marriage to her husband Wayman, who's played by Huy Quan, is crumbling, and she struggles to understand her queer daughter Joy, who's played by Stephanie Hsu. Her life hasn't exactly turned out the way she thought it would. Her life seems to be an endless cycle of laundry and taxes, so she's more existing than she is living. But when Evelyn learns of the existence of the multiverse and her importance in protecting it from a hell-bent Jobu Tupaki, Evelyn embarks on a wild, verse-hopping adventure which is hysterical, action-packed, and deeply profound. Think of this film as The Matrix on acid. As you probably already figured out, I love this film. Sometimes you just know when you're watching something incredibly special. Already I can see this film as a decade-defining film. It's very rare to find a film that's smart, funny, original, entertaining, and moving all at once. Everything, everywhere, all at once. But it's also a film which critics really seem to love, and general audiences will have a blast watching. It's also a movie of the moment. It's really arrived at the right time, what with cinema these days being all about shared universes and Marvel crossovers a la Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So it's wonderful to see a relatively small film. I think Everything Everywhere cost about $25 million to make, competing with the big MCU heavy hitters and arguably making a bigger impact culturally. I hear so many more people talking about Everything Everywhere, more so than Doctor Strange 2. This is the multiverse that people really seem to be responding to. Honestly, a film like Everything Everywhere shouldn't work. Given the gargantuan, expansive nature of its premise, and the fact that it's not an already established intellectual property, it's an entirely original screenplay from the Daniels. And reminder, the Doctor Strange films had 10+ years, dozens of movies, and loads of source material to draw from in order for them to establish the concept of the multiverse. The Daniels somehow managed to do it in one movie. It's got all these rules to establish, plot threads and universes to juggle, and it's also a genre blend cocktail of family drama, comedy, adventure, sci-fi, kung fu, and existential what-if fantasy. But when the movie comes to a close, everything came together. It all felt very cohesive. Everything just clicked into place. Honestly, sometimes I struggle to keep up with all the bits that are going on in the MCU multiverse, but with Everything Everywhere, I got it. It all made sense on the first viewing. So they managed to make this very complex story accessible and easy to follow. I also admire the Daniels for making the movie that they wanted to make, because this is unapologetically weird, wacky, and wild. And yes, it's a fun, goofy action-adventure film, but not at the cost of meaningful characters or ideas that it explores. This film seriously has the goods. Yes, it has wildly inventive and creative action sequences which are joyful to watch, but none of that stuff really matters if you don't have compelling characters that you want to root for, and I love the Wang family. I love the Wang. I mean, it's true. This is the role that I imagine Michelle Yeoh has been waiting for all her life. The role of Evelyn is a showcase performance for Yeoh, probably because she's playing 1,000 different versions of the same character, and each version of Evelyn allows Yeoh to show off so many of her talents, like her comedic timing, her emotional range, her multilingual grasp of language, her singing, and of course, her martial arts expertise, which she has become synonymous for. This is undoubtedly going to be one of the roles that Michelle Yeoh is best remembered for, because it's an iconic character, because Evelyn is both seemingly ordinary and also at the same time extraordinary, and Michelle Yeoh gets to do everything in this film. She is everything everywhere all at once. She is the moment, she is an icon, she is a force of nature in this film, and we all must bow down before Michelle Yeoh. I couldn't believe it when I discovered that the actor who plays her husband Wayman, Huy Quan, was Short Round from Temple of Doom and Data from Goonies. He took like a 20-year break from acting, but talk about a comeback. He is so lovable as Waymond, and that fanny pack sequence, wow. My jaw was on the floor. But everyone's great in this film. Stephanie Hsu, James Hong, and I have to give special mention to Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays the frumpy IRS agent Deirdre. She was so committed, she was so funny. Every time she screamed, I was just howling. But for all of its zany antics, Everything Everywhere never loses you emotionally. It's a film with so much heart, because fundamentally, it's a story about humanity, and it's one of the most emotionally resonant films I think I've ever seen, because it taps into that universal existential dread. We all wonder what our lives could have been like if we'd made different choices or taken a different path. And like Evelyn, at some point we all feel like we're not living up to our full potential. And that makes us feel shitty, because it's hard to find meaning in a life where essentially we're all just one tiny, insignificant speck on the grand canvas of the universe. It makes us feel so small and insignificant. It's enough to make you feel like nothing really matters. Where life is just one constant, monotonous carousel of disappointment. Around and around we go. And you'll notice there's a lot of circular imagery in this film. The googly eyes, the laundry machines, donuts, bagels. The opening shot is actually a circular mirror of the Wang family singing karaoke, and this also acts as a looking glass into an alternate life of theirs. But yeah, there's a lot of circular imagery because a circle has no beginning or an end. It's infinite, like the multiverse, hence all the circular imagery. But there's great comfort to be found in a film like Everything Everywhere All at Once, which shows us that there is still meaning in the monotony. We all feel the same way because we're all on the same carousel of life. It's got its ups and downs, it's repetitive, but it's the connections to those that we love which make it matter. It's why the ending of this film is very cathartic. I won't say too much because I don't want to spoil it for you, but everything comes full circle. See what I did there? I left the cinema with the biggest smile on my face because it's a fun-filled film, but it also reminds us of the value and necessity of kindness and compassion when we're all existing in this chaotic world. God, I just love this film. All right, now let's talk about its Oscars chances. Can this film get some Oscar nominations despite the fact that it's come out so early in the year? I will say it's going to be a challenge because people have short memories and it's going to have a lot of support and momentum to go the distance. But if Coda can win Best Picture last year, and that was released at Sundance, then why can't Everything Everywhere All at Once do the same? The bottom line is, this film deserves to be in the Oscars race. First of all, Michelle Yeoh has never been nominated for an Academy Award. I know, this is a career-defining role for her though. Yes, it's in a comedic film and the Academy is rarely kind to performances in genre films, but the versatility that's on display from Michelle Yeoh in this film is sensational. It's impossible to ignore. She should get a nomination for Best Actress for playing Evelyn because the role is so iconic. So she should get a nomination, But that doesn't mean to say I think that she will certainly get the nomination, but she needs to be in the Best Actress race next year, people, because it's about damn time that we acknowledge Michelle Yeoh. Please do get involved in the comment section below if you think Everything Everywhere deserves some Oscar nominations, if you think it does, which categories, which do you think it should win for, whatever you have to say, let me know in the comment section down below, and please do help support the channel by hitting that little thumbs up button and hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. Helps me out massively. The category which I think this film already deserves the Oscar for is editing. Editing can make or break a movie, and given the chaos of this story, Paul Rogers does an immense job of keeping it all together. Before I said I felt this film felt very cohesive, and that's because of Rogers. He is the glue that keeps it all together. And there was a lot on his plate, because he was managing multiple different timelines, different aspect ratios, and very elaborate action sequences. As an Oscars channel, you'll often hear me say that the film with the most editing often wins. And while Everything Everywhere certainly is a very flashy film and has a lot of editing, it's also quality editing, so it deserves a nomination, and I would put it as my frontrunner to win at the moment. But will something come along and overtake it? Got like 8 or 9 months to see. As for the Daniels, I would say that they absolutely deserve a nomination for Best Original Screenplay, because originality is in serious short supply these days. And while I will admit, like, the film does borrow or is inspired by other films like The Matrix, Being John Malkovich, Boots Riley's surreal comedy, Sorry to Bother You, Ratatouille, and like the goofy kung fu Jackie Chan movies, you know, where anything can be used as a weapon. In this case, it's like keyboards, cookies, and dildos. You heard me correct, yeah. But despite all its inspirations, it still very much is its own thing, and the Daniels know how to world build and establish really meaningful characters that you care for. So yeah, they deserve a screenplay nomination. As for directing, I would say that they deserve a nomination because I think this is a lusciously shot film, but I don't think they're as likely to get a nomination for direction. They're more likely to be honored for their writing. Again, with the Academy, when it comes to genre films, they tend to acknowledge them for their writing and not so much for directing. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I don't feel confident they will. Other categories where I think it's deserving: hair and makeup and costumes. Like, some of the outfits that Stephanie Hsu gets to wear are orgasmic, and when it comes to makeup and hair, I'm just gonna say one word, or maybe it's two: hot dogs. And you'll know what I mean once you see this film, but God. Yeah, it's brilliant. Also, visual effects, and here's something that's gonna blow your mind. The visual effects department on this film consisted of 7 people. 7. When you compare that to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which has 613 people listed under visual effects, that's just like madness. And I'm gonna say it, I think the visual effects in Everything Everywhere are better than the Multiverse of Madness. Can I say that? Also, the sound in this film, I loved. At times it is a little bit cartoony, but in the context of this film and its energy, it makes sense why it's a little eccentric, but I think the sound design was fantastic. And if I had it my way, Everything Everywhere would definitely be in Best Picture. I think it can do it because of the 10 slots and the word of mouth hype, but I don't think it's guaranteed just because of how far away Oscar season is from this film's release date. But like I said, it is a genre film and people do have short memories, but its strongest attributes are that critics and audiences seem to love it, and the word of mouth is key. It's how films like Parasite and Coda managed to win Best Picture their respective years, because they had a passionate fan base behind them. Everything Everywhere does have the goods. Let's just hope the Academy recognizes that. So let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch it again? Doy, this is the type of film that demands multiple viewings, and it's also a film that I want to pause every single frame just to see what I've missed. So yeah, absolutely gonna watch this film so many times in my life, and it's a film you're gonna see on the wall ASAP as soon as I can get my hands on a copy. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? 1000%. Not only do I recommend this film to you guys, but it's a film that I'm actively pushing on my friends and family in my life, saying it's a must watch and you must watch it in a cinema. Oh my God, do it. And third question, what score do I give it out of 10? I am so happy that Everything Everywhere All at Once exists. It's a film that was everything that I want it to be, and somehow more. It's a joyful, verse-hopping adventure, but it's packed with wonderful characters, depth, and meaning. It's a film that simultaneously blows your mind, but tugs at the old heartstrings. It's thigh-slappingly funny, but it also made me cry. Wait until you see the scene with the rocks. And it's also a film that stays with you. I saw this film like a week ago, and I can't stop thinking about it. I know already it's going to be in my top 10 movies of the year list, perhaps even of the decade. Well, at least top 100 of the decade, but who knows, it could crack the top 10 of that, because it is a decade-defining film. No surprise to you guys, but yeah, this is an absolute 10 out of 10, and a film that everybody should watch at least once before they die. If you can only see one film in a cinema this year, make it this one. I implore you, go see it in a cinema surrounded by others. You will live. But as always, guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. I really want to hear your thoughts on this movie. Whatever you have to say about this film, do get involved in the comment section down below. Want to hear from you. Enjoy the movie, hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, click subscribe. If you want to follow me on my socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, it's all in the video description down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Airfield, and I'll see you in the multiverse.